Veston here, and welcome back to Cartoon Theory. This is sort of a remake to my very first theory I did 3 years ago, but after so much experience, I think I could do a similar theory like this, but with a different character. Now, why is Misty so underused on Pokemon after Johto in comparison to the other characters? She didn't appear nearly as much after Johto, or really get as much to do when she shows up. Before I go into my theory as to why I think this is, let's talk about her character and the many roles she plays on Pokemon. Misty exists to be the youngest sister of the Cerulean Gym Sisters, yet she's old enough to handle a gym on her own. She exists to travel and have fun with Ash, even if it wasn't because of the bike incident. She exists to catch water Pokemon, she exists to be the occasional voice of reason, especially when it comes to various young trainers, and she also exists to look tough in comparison to Ash, because in the first few episodes, sometimes, Ash was a bit clueless, so we need someone who looks tough in comparison to him, to really emphasize that point in certain episodes. She appeared in every episode the first 5 seasons and had a major role in at least 20 or 30 of those episodes. After Johto, because of her job as a gym leader, she got a major downgrade. The only time she ever did anything of importance was a Togepi Mirage, where she used her Gyarados against Colonel Hansen. Sure, she was in other episodes during the Hoenn region like Cerulean Blues, a real cliffhanger, and she has kind of an ensemble role with the rest of the cast in episodes like The Right Place and The Right Mime. But after Hoenn, because of her absence in the next 3 regions, she never gets the spotlight at all, ever, in those regions. Even what she does do isn't much. Yeah, after Johto, she really got downgraded. In the first 3 Hoenn seasons, she only appeared 5 times, and she was the focus in only 3 of them. In the Alola season, she got a little bit better, getting 2 team-up episodes with the Alola visit, as well as an episode where she and Brock go on vacation to the Alola region. According to the Pokemon Wiki, one of the show's main directors have stated that the main reason that she didn't make an appearance in Diamond and Pearl is because she's not into contests, and some people have stated that near the end of Master Quest, former head writer Takeshi Shudo was trying to decide what characters he wanted to get rid of, whether it be Team Rocket or Misty. Obviously, he voted for the latter because they wanted to do what the games were doing in shifting female characters. I'm not saying this is a 4Kids versus post-4Kids thing, but it's just that even in the 4Kids era, when they were near the end of Master Quest, she didn't get that big of a spotlight because they were too focused on the Johto League competition. And when she did appear in some of the Hoenn region, she got a more prominent role than she did in the later episodes of Master Quest. So I can understand what the people in Japan were saying, but my whole point in saying all this is just how much of a shame that the writers don't use her more often, even if she wasn't a traveling companion. They had a lot of potential here. She does a lot of different things on the show, and she doesn't get to appear that often after Johto. So writing her in like a little bit more would not be a difficult thing to do. And it shouldn't have taken at least 11 years for Misty to finally interact with any of Ash's new companions in a meaningful way. And she rarely interacts with any of Ash's new traveling companions aside from Pikachu, Brock, Tracy, May, or Max to begin with. It's really kind of weird that we don't know much about her relationship with Dawn or Ash's mom. You would think that would be developed more. You'd think they're just an easy episode right there. You'd think, oh, team up. Let's team up Misty and Serena up. See where there's common ground between the two of them or something. And for all I know, maybe they have had ideas for an episode like that, but never came to fruition. But the fact that it took over 11 years to get there, it just feels really strange to me when it feels like they're reaching for plots a lot of the time. Heck, I would really like to see an episode that's about Misty and Dawn teaming up in some sort of, I don't know, maybe a beach episode where they become lifeguards. Misty could be the more strict one and Dawn could be the more down-to-earth one. They could call it the Tomboyish Lifeguard, as akin to Misty's nickname, the Tomboyish Mermaid. It's a good idea, and you know it. So why is it exactly that Misty is so underused? Well, my personal theory on this, and it is just a theory, I have no evidence to back this up other than what makes logical sense, is that the writers simply forget about her. And my reasoning for this is that every other main character on the show, not including Team Rocket or any of Ash's rivals, exists in one of 2 locations, sometimes in both. Pallet Town and the current region Ash will be traveling in. In Pallet Town, you have Ash, Pikachu, his mom Delia, Professor Oak, and Tracy. Meaning that if an episode was going to take place in Ash's house, Pikachu's going to be there, obviously Delia will be hanging around, Professor Oak might eventually show up, Tracy works at Oak's lab, but he's not always there. It's Pallet Town, they're all there. If you're writing an episode, even if it has nothing to do with Delia, Professor Oak, or Tracy, you're probably going to want to include one of them just for a quick gag or something, if nothing else. The other location would be the current region Ash would be traveling in, which there are a lot more common than Pallet Town. Which you have Ash, Pikachu, his new companions, Officer Jenny, Nurse Joy. Brock does travel with Ash still, but he's not always there. And then right behind them is Team Rocket and even Gary Oak to an extent. It's kind of weird, but Gary got more appearances after Johto than Misty. Every character is right there. So if you're writing an episode where Ash is doing a gym battle in that region, Pikachu will be right by his side, his friends will be cheering on from the bleachers, and if it's a Team Rocket episode, they're going to come in and try to steal Pikachu. It's not natural for them to do that, and it's not even unnatural that Brock would travel with Ash outside of Johto like Hoenn and Sinnoh. So that just kind of leaves Misty as the odd one out. Now, I'm not saying that Misty can't visit those regions or show up at Ash's house, but you have to specifically write her to do so. It's not just a natural process of writing an episode. It's not like, oh, there's a great character like Richie, let's write him in. You have to specifically go out your way to think, are we going to have an episode where Ash goes to the Cerulean Gym to visit Misty? Or are we going to have an episode where Misty specifically goes on a visit to Ash's current region, or specifically goes to Ash's house? Meaning that it's typically only going to be whenever she's going to be important. She isn't going to show up that often. Just kind of as a supporting character or a one-off character as much as the other characters, because she doesn't fit in quite as well as everyone else on the show in regards to these two locations outside of Kanto. Also, a secondary backup theory on that is that Misty is like the most logical and intelligent character on the show like Brock. But she had her moments of idiocy, like falsely accusing Toadal and Chikorita for stealing food. But she's more reasonable than Ash, meaning that if you're going to do an episode where Ash recklessly does something stupid despite those warnings, especially in battling the enemy within, Misty isn't really going to fit in well there because it really doesn't make sense why Misty would be like, Ash, that Brandon guy is scaring me, we better leave now. So yeah, I don't really think she fits into that archetype, and I guess that kind of goes of what Black and White did with dumbing down Ash a little bit. But yeah, there you go. That's my reasoning. I just think they forget, not because they're bad writers, but because outside of Kanto and Johto, Misty doesn't necessarily fit naturally into the ecosystem of the other regions of the Pokemon world without you having to specifically write her in to do so. But on a cheerier note, at least Misty got to travel with Ash one more time during the last few episodes of his show. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below on this. Until then, this has been yet another Cartoon Theory. Bye for now.